a story about wisdom, patience, and clever thinking. Once upon a time, in a quiet little town at the edge of a wide green field, there stood an old house with red brick walls and wooden floors that creaked with every step. The house had been there for many years, so many that no one remembered who built it first. Vines climbed up its walls, birds nested under its roof, and inside its rooms lived a large and lively community of mice. These mice were not ordinary mice. They were thoughtful, organized, and surprisingly wise. They lived together like a small village, with elders, children, workers, and guards. They had tiny homes inside the walls, behind cupboards, under the floors, and inside old wooden chests. Long tunnels connected one room to another, and hidden holes opened into kitchens, pantries, and storerooms. Life for the mice was mostly peaceful, except for one great danger. That danger was a cat. The fearsome cat. The cat's name was Silverclaw. She was large, sleek, and proud, with shining grey fur and eyes that glowed like green lamps in the dark. Her whiskers were long and sharp, her claws curved like tiny knives, and her movements were silent as the wind. When she walked across the floor, she made almost no sound at all. Silverclaw was an excellent hunter. She had been catching mice since she was a kitten, and she took great pride in her skill. She liked the thrill of the chase, the sudden leap, the quick grab, and the satisfied feeling of victory. At first, the mice did not know how dangerous she was. One by one, curious young mice would come out of their holes to explore the kitchen floor. Some would sniff crumbs near the table, others would run across the room, laughing and playing. And then pounce! Silverclaw would strike. Many mice disappeared that way. Some were caught near the grain sacks. Others vanished near the water pot. Soon, fear spread through the mouse community like a cold shadow. The mice held a meeting. One evening, after another mouse failed to return home, the elders called a meeting. Deep inside the wall, in a large hollow space lit by firefly lanterns, hundreds of mice gathered. Old Grandfather Whisker, the wisest mouse of all, stood on a small stone and tapped his stick. "My friends," he said gently, "we must talk about the cat." A soft murmur filled the room. "She is too fast," said one mouse. "She waits near our holes," said another. "My cousin was taken yesterday," cried a young mouse, wiping her eyes. Grandfather Whisker raised his paw for silence. "We cannot fight the cat," he said. "She is stronger than us, but we can outthink her." The mice leaned closer. "What should we do?" someone asked. "We must stay inside," said Grandfather Whisker. "No one comes out unless it is absolutely safe. No rushing, no playing outside, no taking risks." The guards nodded. "And we must watch," he continued. "We must learn the cat's habits. A wise mind is better than sharp claws." The mice agreed. From that day on, the rules changed. A house gone quiet. The next morning, Silverclaw waited near the kitchen wall. Usually, by this time, a few mice would already be running about, but the floor was empty. Silverclaw flicked her tail. She waited. Nothing. She moved to the pantry. Still nothing. Hour after hour passed. No mice appeared. At first, Silverclaw was amused. "They think hiding will save them," she purred to herself. But by evening, her stomach began to growl. By the next day, it growled louder. Silverclaw tried everything. She pretended to sleep. She scratched the walls. She knocked over jars to scare the mice out. But the mice did not come. Inside the walls, the mice were watching. "She is trying tricks," whispered the guards. "Yes," said Grandfather Whisker, "and tricks are dangerous. Hunger makes the cat desperate." 3 days passed. Silverclaw had caught nothing. Her steps grew slower. Her eyes lost some of their shine. Her pride was wounded, and her hunger burned like fire in her belly. "I am the hunter," she growled. "They cannot defeat me by hiding." She lay on the floor thinking. Cats are clever creatures, and Silverclaw was no exception. As she lay there, watching a spider crawl along the wall, an idea formed in her mind. "What if," she thought, "the mice believe I am no longer a threat?" Her eyes sparkled. "Yes," she purred. "That is the answer." The cat's clever plan. In the corner of the room stood an old wooden peg hammered into the wall. Sometimes hats or bags were hung there. Silverclaw studied it carefully. "I will pretend to be dead," she thought. "If they think I am gone, they will come out, and then—" She smiled, showing her sharp teeth. That night, when the house was quiet, Silverclaw climbed onto a chair. From there, she leapt and hooked her paws over the peg. She let her body hang limp. Her head drooped, her eyes closed, her tail hung still. She did not move at all. To anyone watching, she looked like a lifeless cat hanging upside down. The mice observe. At dawn, a young mouse peeked out of a hole. He froze. "There is the cat," he whispered. Other mice gathered behind him. "But she is not moving," said another. Grandfather Whisker was called. The old mouse peered carefully through a crack in the wall. He murmured. "This is interesting." The mice watched. Minutes passed. The cat did not move. "She must be dead," squeaked a young mouse excitedly. "Wait," said Grandfather Whisker. "Wisdom tells us not to rush." Testing the truth, the elders discussed quietly. "If she's dead, it is safe," said one mouse. "If she's pretending, it is a trap," said another. Grandfather Whisker nodded. "We will test," he said. A brave mouse tied a tiny string to a crumb and pushed it toward the cat. The crumb touched Silverclaw's whiskers. She did not move. The mice held their breath. Another crumb was rolled closer. Still nothing. But Grandfather Whisker noticed something. "Look closely," he whispered. "Her ears." The mice squinted. Very slightly, almost invisibly, Silverclaw's ear twitched. "She is alive," whispered Grandfather Whisker. The mice speak out. The young mice felt angry and proud at the same time. "She tried to fool us." "Yes." Grandfather Whisker stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "Oh, cat," he called out loudly, "we are not afraid of your tricks." Silverclaw's eyes opened just a little. "We know you are pretending," Grandfather Whisker continued. "We are clever and not falling for your tactics." The mice stood tall. "If you were truly dead," said another mouse, "you would not hang so carefully." "And if you were harmless," said a third, "you would not still be listening." The cat's defeat, Silverclaw knew the game was over. With a hiss of frustration, she dropped to the floor. Her plan had failed. She glared at the wall. Her pride hurt worse than her hunger. "Clever mice," she growled. Days passed. With no food to be found in the house, Silverclaw eventually left in search of easier hunting grounds. The house grew peaceful once more. A lesson remembered. The mice gathered again in their meeting hall. "You did well," Grandfather Whisker said. "You were patient. You were wise." The young mice listened carefully. "Remember this," he said. "Those who rely only on tricks will fail against true wisdom." From that day on, the mice never rushed into danger. They observed, they thought, they stayed wise. Moral of the story: if you are wise, no one can deceive you. And so, in that old house by the green field, wisdom lived quietly behind the walls, safe from sharp claws and clever tricks.